The film, which you will see in a moment, was made in the previous 2 weeks during the artistic residence of Tomáš Moravanský in the studios of Gallery XY in Olomouc. For a better viewing experience, we recommend using headphones or speakers. The film will start shortly. We wish you a focused experience. In the second part of the film, there will be an opportunity to ask questions.
The presentation will start in a few moments. For a better experience, please put on headphones or use a speaker. The presentation will start in a few moments. For a better experience, please put on headphones or use a speaker.
This is a chair. It is the most common thing made by humans, used by humans. The chair is still one of the most frequently used items in theatre and dance performances. But this is a different type of chair than is usual in the theatre. It is not an old wooden chair characterized by anything specific like a chair with 4 legs and a backrest for one person. This is a newer type of chair, stylish, cheap, rotating around its axis. Under the seat on the right side it is also possible to find a lever with which it is possible to slightly change the height of the seat as needed. A total of 5 legs hold it from the center bar under the seat. At the end of each of them, a wheel is attached so that it can be easily moved across the floor, without the person sitting on it being forced to stand. Not like a wheelchair for the disabled, which is quite different, but also an interesting case. This is something between an office chair and an armchair. It's grey, like the carpet beneath it. It looks quite comfortable and not very challenging. If we look more closely, we will see that the sides of the chair are a little yellow. It is a sign that the chair has probably been used for a long time. Which means it has its own, individual history. Someone has sat in this chair before and someone will definitely just sit in it later. This is probably a larger group of people. Not more than one person at a time, though it's possible, but what good would that do? What does it mean to sit in a chair? It definitely depends on where the chair is located or who is sitting on it. At home, at school, at work, on the street, in the car, on the plane, in jail, shop, cinema, restaurant and so on. Each chair is part of an ideology, which it also represents. The chair itself is not alive, it does not think, it has no emotions. This is because the chair does not have a brain. And it certainly doesn't believe in fairy tales. Which, paradoxically, actually makes it a smarter thing than a lot of people. Of course, only if it was alive. Either way, the chair has no awareness of what it is, it's just a chair. And even if it's a more modern version, a smart chair, powered by electricity and a computer, like an electric chair, it's still just a chair. It is just a cluster of materials put into logical relationships into a specific shape. It has its design, owner, manufacturer, potential passenger, price, and so on. It has and is an ideology in itself, like many other things, if not all things. An armchair is part of an ideology even when no one is sitting on it, even when an armchair is missing in a room, where it should be and is not, or could just be. You are probably sitting on a chair right now. Or someone you know for sure. If not, you will almost certainly sit down in the near future. If we look more closely, we will see something behind the chair. You may have noticed it before I pointed it out.
It's an electrical plug. and probably functional. So we can say it's a good plug. But, who knows, it may not work. In that case, it would be a broken plug. 4 holes in the wall covered with plastic. Being in a room where there is a hole in the wall is a different feeling than being in a room where there is a functional plug. Notice the crack next to it as well. We should follow it. Where will the crack lead us? There can be countless possibilities and branches of this crack. Oh, that's where the crack line ends. So let's go back to the other side. We probably went in the wrong direction. And here it is again. Electric plug. So, if we stick our finger in one, it could cause us an injury, or worse, it could kill us. Assuming we had very thin fingers that would fit in there, or if we were a very small child. Or we would use a fork. Then it could kill us. Like the electric chair mentioned earlier. In the case of a plug, however, we have the option of connecting an appliance to it. For example, a lamp, a microwave, a computer, a television, a refrigerator, an air freshener, a hairdryer, a printer, and many other things. Try to Google them. You will definitely find a lot of more interesting things. But we should continue in the direction of the crack.
We will probably never know if the electric plug works, but if we assume that the light in the room is on, it probably means that the plug is functional. We could notice the light right at the beginning in an impressive cut in which they lit up. Let's look at it again. There are 2 windows in the space. This is a normal window to the courtyard or the street, but it is currently covered by a beige blind. Thanks to this blind, we don't have to mentally deal with things that happen outside. Not because we don't care, simply because there's too much going on outside at the moment. Maybe someone is even waiting for us. The second window is not so common. It's a window to the second room. There are shutters on the window. That's because there was probably a real office here before. But who knows? These shutters are a little broken. It is not possible to turn them around as expected from shutters.
Now, let's look at the carpet. I think it's good to look at the carpet. On the floor we can find a lot of things that indicate to us who or what is going on in the room. Very nice carpet. Grey. Ordinary carpet. We can see such a rug quite often. We will see this same carpet later. Not today or tomorrow. When that happens, you'll know right away that it's the situation. Grey carpet's situation. And that's a true story.
And now, what we find on the carpet. Lesson number 1.
Apple.
Repeat after me.
Apple.
Excellent.
Orange.
Again.
Orange. Pencil. Orange pencil. Wallet. Money. Capitalism. Communism.
Excellent. What else? What else can we find? Tell us more. Is this dust? Is this the cable you connect to the world with? That is not possible. You're a liar. Tell us more. We can still hear the sound of neon lights in the background. It is a small room, so we can hear the sound of neon lights quite clearly. If we are silent for a moment, our ears will adjust and we will be able to hear this sound in more detail. So let's try to listen to it for a while. Can you hear that? Our ears adapt slowly but clearly. If we are more careful, we will be able to hear the human voice. This is probably a neighbor. It is not clear whether it is a conversation or a monologue. But who am I to judge? Do you hear the sound of electricity? Isn't that interesting? I feel very comfortable with this sound. As if I understood him. I could listen to this sound for countless hours.
The camera lens through which we currently have the opportunity to look is 50mm. The 50mm lens is commonly used for portraits and does not take up as much space as other, wider lenses. But a 50mm lens is enough to give us an idea, a picture of where we are. Or an index of things the lens used to focus on. Even the index of the lens itself. As mentioned before, it is a small room and thanks to that we can perceive it more intensely. So intense that reality can begin to be clarified and ideologies will reveal their hidden sides.
Мы постигаем космическое пространство через положение нашего тела. Благодаря так называемой телесной или постуральной схеме мы всегда имеем глобальное, практическое и неявное представление об отношениях между нашим телом и вещами, о нашем положении по отношению к ним. Связка возможных движений или двигательных проектов исходит из нашего окружения. Наше тело не находится в пространстве, поскольку в нем есть вещи, оно обитает и населяет его, оно цепляется за него, как рука за инструмент. Следовательно, туда, куда мы хотим переместиться, нам не нужно двигаться вместе с ним как с объектом. Нам не нужны никакие средства для изменения его положения, мы делаем это как будто чудом, потому что тело наше и позволяет нам иметь прямой доступ в космос. Реальное пространство, в котором каждая точка является тем, чем она является, в человеке перекрывается виртуальным пространством, в котором записаны такие пространственные значения, которые данные точки приобретут, если координаты нашего тела изменятся. Другие, создавая таким образом систему соответствия, в которой каждый символизирует всех остальных. Это различное понимание, которое превращает нашу реальную ситуацию в один из случаев в системе других возможных ситуаций, реализуется, как только, например, мы указываем пальцем на точку в пространстве. Жест показа, который животные в настоящее время не понимают, предполагает, что мы уже движемся в виртуальном, центробежном или культурном пространстве в конце линии, обозначенной нашим пальцем. Это имитационное использование нашего тела еще не является концептуальной концепцией, потому что оно не отделяет нас от телесной ситуации, а, наоборот, принимает на себя весь ее смысл.
And now it's time for Tomáš to answer your questions. Let's say hello to Tomáš. You can ask Tomáš anything. We are waiting for questions. Can anyone ask a question? Anyone? Anything. Let's wait, maybe someone will ask something. Still nothing? Are there any questions at all? Let's go. Let's try to wait a little longer. The matter is, in fact, as follows. If someone asked something, unfortunately Tomáš does not see your question. Tomáš is not sitting in front of a computer or other device where he could see your questions. That will probably be the problem. And besides, I think it's more clear that this isn't a pre-recorded video. Tomáš is probably sitting on the bus at this time and is on his way home. Or he got lost somewhere again. Tomáš can often get lost if he goes somewhere. Even in places he knows thoroughly. Or he's still present here waiting for someone to ask him something. Or, this is actually a live broadcast and Tomáš just doesn't want to react. Sometimes it's harder to understand than he really means. Either way, I don't know how it really is. I'm just a weird generated voice. Or this is really just a pre-recorded video and Tomáš is actually sitting in front of the computer watching the video with you. Maybe in the same room and maybe at home. Maybe he's the only spectator. He hasn't slept much in the last few days, as usual. So how is it? All options are likely. Certainly not all at once. Tomáš cannot be in 2 or more places at once. Or can he? In fact, it is possible, and Tomáš addressed this issue in at least one of his projects. Is Tomáš still here or is he still gone? But he would definitely need a new haircut. If you ever manage to get to the room where Tomáš spent the last 3 weeks, you may be able to find physical evidence of his presence. So we are sorry that Tomáš cannot answer your questions, if there were any at all. But that doesn't mean you still don't have to try to ask him something. Nobody wants to ask anything? If you are interested in Tomáš's work, you can visit and view it at www.instituteinstitute.com. You can also see the work of his colleagues on the website. If you really want to ask something and you've kept watching the video here, and you'd like an answer, write to him. Thank you and good night.
And it's gone. Now I only have memories. Memories of how it was. Do I remember that correctly?
Lesson number 2. Do you know how the natural elements of our periodic system, like hydrogen, oxygen, helium, iron, etc. are created? It's neither easy, nor obvious, so don't feel bad in case you don't know. I didn't either. Everything you can touch, feel and see is made up of atoms, but where do their different kinds come from? You probably know that all planetary bodies, including stars, have a gravity field around them. These interact with each other, such as the moon causing high and low tide through its gravitational pull on Earth. Gravity causes atoms to vibrate, and the more they do, the hotter they get. So if a big star, like the Sun, has a super strong gravity field, the pressure and heat eventually get so big that atoms melt together, for example 2 hydrogen atoms fusing into 1 helium molecule, thus creating a new element. If a star burns through its hydrogen very fast, all the excess energy that's created in the process leads to more atoms bashing into each other, and the new helium molecules in turn fuse into other, bigger, heavier elements, like iron, carbon or oxygen. In case of a supernova, a big star exploding, all of these elements are hurled into the universe, creating giant clouds of gas and dust, which slowly build their own gravity field, that then repeats the process, and that's how natural elements are created.